Hello, hello, hello. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my video. I'm super excited to be here recording this for you guys, and I'm super excited that you're here watching me. My mom got me this really big professional ring light for Christmas, and it's awesome, and I feel like I'm sunbathing right now. I feel like you can see my face very clear. Wow. So I actually have been putting off doing this video for quite some time because it has been in my heart to just speak on the topic in and of itself, right? I didn't actually think that I was going to do a video, but here we are. And I hope you guys enjoy. Boop, boop, boop. So for starters, I do want to say that 2020 has actually been a blessing. That's my unpopular opinion. That's the punchline. Anyway, I actually do feel really guilty when I hear we shouldn't really count 2020 or 2021 is gonna be so much better. Just 2020, right? Like that's all you hear. That's all I hear. I feel guilty because I've seen the growth that has happened, or I've heard other people see the growth that has happened, and just the blessings all year long. And yeah, I get it. It's been very uncomfortable to say the least, right? That yes, I agree, right? Definitely uncomfortable, but that's not the worst thing. You know what I mean? Being uncomfortable. I've definitely battled talking about this topic, right? Because I absolutely get that we've struggled. We've struggled this year, and I know that in some cases, some of those struggles have been amplified, right? And we have experienced situations just like trauma, right? Mental health, finance, finance, struggling financially, and loss, right? Especially loss. And I get that, right? But honestly, these are struggles that we face every day. It's not discriminating. It's not just saying that the year 2020 brought all of these new struggles. That's not really the case, right? And don't get me wrong, because I'm not minimizing the struggles in any way, right? Each struggle is very much valid. I just don't think that it's just this year that it's been happening, right? It's not just this year that the struggle hits you harder. It's not just this year that the loss just hits you harder and stuff like that, right? It's just for example, right? This year we had a racial injustice explosion, right? But that's not to say that this year brought that. The social injustice we've been battling for years and years and decades and generations and stuff like that, right? And it's not 2020 that brought that, or it's not just in 2020 that we faced that, and it's not just in 2020 that we battled that. That's not the case, right? And so the struggles that I feel okay, yes, we've experienced this year, I feel like we've always experienced, because they're a part of life, you know what I mean? When it comes to loss, especially, it's a very heartfelt feeling, right? It's a very real feeling, but it is a part of life, right? And it's not just this year that we've experienced loss. There are things that can add to the impact this year, and I absolutely get that. But what I am trying to say is that we don't have to dog down on this year, because there are so many more blessings that have happened this year. And I, for one, have personally experienced so much more growth and blessings this year alone than I can remember for any other year, right? And this is not for myself only, but things that I have heard from other people. We need to value, and we need to add value to these blessings, right? We need to shine the light on this growth, right? We need to acknowledge it. We need to just be grateful for so many things that have happened to all of us, right, this year. So I'm gonna share something with you guys. I'm not sure if I've shared it before or not, right? But I remember that earlier this year, I was struggling with childcare, right? So my grandmother has always helped me with my kids when it comes to childcare, right? She's definitely been such a pillar, such like just everything, right? She's really gone above and beyond for me and my kids especially when it comes to childcare, right? And so this year, in the beginning of the year, she started getting arthritis pain, right? And so she was no longer in the position where she can really take care of my kids, right? So now my oldest son, he's in school, and my youngest can't start school yet until next year. And so I saw myself at a crossroads where I was like, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like, do I go into, like, do I look into daycare? To put her in daycare? Do I leave my job? Like, I was really, like, we were looking at our different options, right? And so at the time I was going part-time to my job. And so it just so happens that while I was in this crossroads, I was offered a full-time position starting in the summer, right? To later, you know, like on a path to growth, right? And so because it happened, right? Where many people would be super excited and celebrating and everything like that, I couldn't celebrate because I knew what I was facing and what I was battling, right? And I didn't know if I should say yes. I didn't know if I should say, like, I can't explain to you what I was battling because it's more mental and like just emotionally, like it was a lot, right? I feel like if you've been in the situation, you know, if you have kids, like, you know, but I was just so tight and like so overwhelmed, and it definitely kept me up at night not knowing what to do, right? So when quarantine happened, I was immediately sent home, right? The schools were closed. I was working from home, right? When schools were closed and I started homeschooling or, you know, remote teaching Aiden or my son, it got very overwhelming very quickly, like very quickly. And after that, I was let go because I was part-time. Now, a lot of people may say, wow, like that's so crazy, or like I'm so sorry, or like it's a struggle and stuff like that. But deep down, like I couldn't see it that way. You know what I mean? Like, and deep down, like I knew like I had to be grateful for it because I got to stay home. And I didn't have to worry, right, about what I was gonna do for childcare or who was gonna take care. And so I never prayed, right? Like I can't tell you that this is what I asked for. I didn't ask for a pandemic, or I didn't ask for quarantine or anything, but I did ask God for a solution. I just said, like, I just asked, like, I need you to put me in a position where this just all makes sense and it all fixes itself, right? Like, what do I do? And so, honestly, like quarantine came like an answered prayer. Although I am not saying that it's been easy or by any means, or like, and I'm not saying that I prayed for a like, that's not what I said, right? But I have to call a blessing out for what it is, right? Because again, like I said, like, unless you've been in that situation, like, you know exactly what I mean, right? And so that's my little testimony, right? But like, aside from that, right, so many different things that I've experienced this year, right? And just to name a few, like, I've definitely been able to save money like I've never had before this year, right? And that I'm so grateful for, right? I've experienced a church be built, and that miracles are definitely till this day happening within it, right? And I think that's so amazing, and it all started this year, right? I've seen the talk of mental health rise like crazy, and that's definitely a whole other topic, right? Because I can talk on that for days. I've seen more people seek God this year, right? And through quarantine, I've heard from my youth how through quarantine they were saved, right? And that testimony in and of itself, like, if that was the only testimony that I heard, then I think it was worth it. Do you understand? Like, I don't know. I've seen relationships being mended just because of the idea, like, life is short, and it is, right? Why waste your life being upset? But I've seen relationships being mended. I haven't personally seen, right? But people that I know, right, just giving birth to healthy babies, that happened this year, and they're allowed to celebrate that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, your baby was born during a quarantine, during a pandemic, right? And like, that is such a blessing, right? Just families getting pregnant also, and like just growing and stuff, right? So many people getting healthier. I started my own business during quarantine, right? And actually, like, so excited that I was able to just diversify, right, our income, our streams of income, right? Super proud of that. And I've seen like families buying houses this year. I've seen families, how they value quality time now more than ever, right? And yes, I am sure that there are so many things to complain about. I'm sure, right? Because there's always things to complain about, always. But what I do think is that our blessings are even greater than that, right? That the good definitely could outweigh the bad. And that's just my opinion. I just don't think that we should be robbed of or rob the joy of those blessings, right? By saying things like, oh, 2020, right? Or like 2020 shouldn't even count. Or like 2021 is going to be so much better because 2020 was just, you know, like, or whoever cursed 2020, or can we reset 2020? And it's like, no, because why? You know what I mean? Like, if anything called for this year, it's the ability to be present and like to appreciate the things that we have around us, right? And honestly, like, if you're a Christian, then you know that if God wants you to grow, he will make it uncomfortable. And so I ask you, are you uncomfortable? And would you consider maybe God being behind the idea? And what do you think he might be trying to get across to you in your burning heart? Maybe 2020 is a wake-up call. I know it was for me and for other people that I've spoken to. So not only counting your blessings help, but actually labeling and naming your blessings, right? It can just help you so much more to know exactly what you're grateful for or what you should be grateful for, right? I definitely think all the time that you should be labeling and naming everything. You should be very specific with all of your thoughts, right? In order for you to begin healing, you need to name your trauma. In order for you to be grateful, you need to name your blessings, right? So that you know what you're counting for, or what you're counting, right? So I am definitely super interested in hearing what you guys count as blessings. So if you feel like you've been blessed this year, I would absolutely love to hear or read in the comments below what's your blessing, and maybe you can share with others, and maybe we can hear more positivity about what this year has brought, right? And not just close this year by saying like, oh, so glad that's over, right? Because we should, if we're uncomfortable and we know that God uses uncomfortable situations to make us grow, then we should be ecstatic for what's to come out of us after this year. And who knows, right? Who knows what God's plan is. But yeah, guys, I love you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Oh, and Happy New Year. God bless you guys.